Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Monday, the 17th of November, 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai or your post on chain. Right, let's see what we got today. Obviously, just going to go through the posts on my Twitter feed. Again, just highlighting and explaining exactly why the world needs Bitcoin. We'll have a look at the figures. Look at this. Transactions are right down. They're right down. But what you have to remember is that Bitcoin is an economic model. And oh, look at that. So it's literally, even with transactions, let's have a look at this percentage again. So across the forks, we've just got under 20%, so 19.3. So even with just 19.3% of the transaction volume, it's only 0.9% more profitable to mine on Gregcoin. It's hilarious. Like, honestly, to me, like with Bitcoin being an economic model, it just looks like the bowstring is being pulled back even more. When this thing goes, there will be no stopping it. No stopping it. And that's the way we need it, so that the evil cabal don't get their way of enslaving and depopulating humanity in the way that we know that they are intending on doing. We'll have a look at what's on chain if we can get on it. Let's have a look. No, not that one. Do we get to see this one? Love it when a computer asks you to verify that you're human. The irony there, crazy. It's not lost on me. We'll go through the usual ones, price and the overall market, and then we'll finish with some 365 days of Bitcoin history. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Here we go. So firstly, I must apologize for not putting a show out yesterday. I actually went up early to gather my thoughts, put my head down a little bit, and then just fell straight to sleep because I'm getting interrupted sleep at the moment. So I must have needed it because I was out for the count. But as ever, the show must go on. So let's look at this post from Illuminati bot, just posted yesterday about the terrifying United Nations plan. Habitat plan from 1976. They've had these plans for decades. Right, let's have a listen.
Humans that once lived on farms and in rural areas, so-called wildlands, will be relocated to cities, now referred to as human settlements.
And the idea is that if you concentrate populations into specific areas or
if you concentrate humans into specific areas or zones, they're easier to wipe out because they're all together. You just poison the water supply and they're all using the same one. Easy as that.
Zones, less energy usage, less water usage, and less transportation. So people will have less reason to leave home.
And they're easier to kill off.
They'll stay in their homes. They may even work out of their homes. And so they're not going to be using their cars. They're not going to be using energy.
See how it's just all gaslighting. It's all lies, lies, lies. As they said in Revelation, those of the temple of Satan who claim to be a particular religion but are not and lie. Literally all they do, they just lie, just gaslight. It's in their nature. It's like they were born to do it.
And they're not going to be using water.
Since, as we saw earlier, the UN is not big on property rights.
Yeah, none at all, because you will own nothing and be happy.
It should come as no surprise that the first private property to be phased out will be single-family homes.
There we go. Single-family homes, particularly those on farmlands, like farmland homes. That's what they're going to do. Need to get rid of them first. And that's what's going on now with them trying to steal the homes off the farmers in Britain.
What socialists at UN headquarters consider suburban sprawl.
And remember, nobody voted for the United Nations. Completely unelected, just like the European Union.
Instead, we the people will live in apartments and condos in megacities near railroad tracks.
And then they'll probably gas us.
Our super tall dwelling units will all be built to UN-specified building codes authorized by ICLEI COGS.
Yeah, so they'll just accidentally, on purpose, fall down, just like World Trade Center 7, killing everybody in it.
The ADA and a myriad of NGOs and other friends of sustainable development.
They're talking about NGOs back then as well.
While the animals run wild in continental corridors, we the humans will live in transit villages and smart cities.
And again, this was in mentioned on the Georgia Guidestones. Look after nature, disregard human life, basically.
Smart growth, or new urbanism, is that ideology that says that you shouldn't have more space than you actually need.
Apart from the elites, they can take everything that they want.
So,
what are they going to do with Bill Gates? Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's one of them, so that's all right.
If you're a couple of people living in a 3-bedroom house, well, you don't need that extra space. So why do you have it?
There's a clear, concerted effort to make it really just about as miserable as possible.
There we go. I think he's just absolutely nailed that, because their misery is what they get off on. So absolutely outrageous, But again, this is why the world need Bitcoin. They get their power because they, unfortunately, they control the banks. This post here from UFO Mania said the shocking discovery of Harvard scientist who was warned to stay silent. And again, he was warning about how they were using these social media giants and advertisers to track us in the same way that Edward Snowden said they were doing. So it's going on, and he's been warned not to warn about us, or he's been warned not to warn us about it. But he's got obligation to his human people here. This is a really funny one. I quite like this ghost profile told somebody to go suck it the other day. He reposted here from Crypto Brief saying newly surfaced emails reveal that Jeffrey Epstein's money helped fund early Bitcoin Core development, according to The Rage. Here we go. So now they're basically trying to pin the failing of BTC on Jeffrey Epstein, because they can't have it land on Blockstream's shoulders because they're still around. So let's see what this says. New emails from the Jeffrey Epstein estate, released this week by the House Oversight Committee, reveal that the financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein assisted the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Media Lab director Joichi Ito in funding MIT's digital currency initiative, and that at least some of the funding was directed towards a Bitcoin Core development. While public reports have hinted that some of Epstein's funding may have been directed at the Media Labs, the digital currency initiative, which at the time served as the main funding arm for the first digital currency reference implementation, Bitcoin Core, MIT's independent investigation of the scandal described mentions of Epstein in concurrence with the digital currency initiative as cursory, finding only a single instance in which Ito, there must be more. But in either way, they're trying to pin it on Jeffrey Epstein, is what they're trying to do, and there's more coming out about that. But again, it's just more bullshit. I mean, even if he did fund it, he's not the one that actually did it and came up with the ideas. He was just like, oh, you've got the ideas, there you go. We'll just give you some funding so you can implement it. But again, this is why the world needs Bitcoin. And again, it keeps playing on my mind. I've said here, this is why the world and everybody in it needs Bitcoin. All people, and this is all people, literally, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, that no one could buy or sell unless they had received the mark of the beast. And this was in the book of Revelation. Here it goes, the mark of the beast. I think it's Revelation 3:16. And the second beast, the one that was on the land, required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of its name. So in other words, being registered been registered, tagged like cattle. You can't buy and sell. So this is the playbook that they're going on about, and this is why the world needs Bitcoin, because as Henry Kissinger said, who controls money controls the world. So if you're controlling the money and you need to have like the mark of the beast in your right hand or on your forehead in order to use that money, they've absolutely got you. They've absolutely got you. And this is why they want to bring in their CBDC and digital ID. Combine them both together. And literally, this makes everybody equal, which means we are all in this together, because there is only one individual that's going to literally be controlling everything and everyone. Literally everyone. So, I mean, again, whoever it is that's doing this, again, they're going to wipe out all those minions that they've got helping them in the end. They're like, all right, well, you're worthless because you're a bunch of traitorous minions, who's willing to stab your own kind in the back, just to get ahead. See you guys later. They're just going to wipe everybody out. But all those people who are thinking, oh yeah, I'm all right, Jack. I'm a billionaire. Nothing affects me. I can afford everything that I want. Afraid not. You're just like everybody else. Your funds are in a bank account. They are on a microchip on a corporate server somewhere, and all they're going to do is wipe it. Literally, they're just going to wipe it. It's all they're going to do. And again, going on to Bitcoin, I said Bitcoin is the stone cut out, but not by human hands. It has been prophesied. And a quote here, a stone was cut out, but not by human hands. In other words, it's a commodity. And this was in the book of Daniel. Check this out. And this was written 600 BC. So he said, as you watched, a stone was cut out, but not by human hands. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and crushed them. Then the iron and clay, bronze, silver and gold were shattered and became like chaff on the threshing floor in the summer. The wind carried them away, and not a trace of them could be found. But the stone that had struck the statue became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. That is absolutely Bitcoin. Because when would gold and silver be like chaff on the threshing floor in summer, and the wind carry them away and not a trace? Well, that is exactly their use in the financial system. There will not be a trace of them left in the financial system. Literally, all these other commodities like iron, clay, bronze, silver, gold, they will literally revert back to their commercial use cases instead of being hoarded and used as speculative bits of what they call precious metal. They're literally not going to be used in finance anymore. This is absolutely a reference to their use case in the financial system. There is no other explanation for gold and silver being carried away with the wind and not a trace of them being found. Like what on earth could that refer to? And if the world uses Bitcoin, then no one's going to be using gold or silver anymore. I mean, it's just amazing, really, when you think about what Craig has actually come up with. Like digital data being the most useful resource in the world, and now you can actually commoditize data. And so people would use the digital network that is the Bitcoin network to host all of their digital requirements, because it's not susceptible to cybersecurity acts or virus software. And it can't be cracked, hacked, altered, changed, or deleted. Why on earth would you not use it? And you have privacy over your own data for the first time in history. It is phenomenal that Daniel actually managed to prophesize this 600 years BC, before Christ. Yeah, I know they say it's before Common Era, BCE these days, and they say Common Era, CE, and then BCE, but they're just trying to hide the meaning of BC and AD, Anno Domini, and BC before Christ. That's all it means. Jim Ferguson also said here, Edward Snowden chilling warning is now unfolding in real time. What China built is exactly what Western governments are quietly preparing for. Snowden is crystal clear. Oh, let's find that one. Snowden is crystal clear. Every photo, every purchase, every message, every moment, all of it is being fed into algorithms that decide your future. In China, AI city brains now track where you live, who you visit, how you dispose of your rubbish, every step you take in public, whether you follow the rules or not. Break a rule, a camera catches you from these angles. your score drops, your life collapses. Snowden's warning: if any of your activities differ from what the government wants, you won't get on a train, you won't board a plane, you won't get a job. An algorithm will decide your fate and what they're selling us. And what they're selling is us, yeah. This is not a future threat. It is happening now in Shanghai, in Beijing, and creeping into the West through digital ID, AI policing, and misinformation scoring. China built the prototype. Our governments are importing the blueprint. Stay informed, stay alert. Do not let this system take root. Again, the only alternative we have is Bitcoin, and Jim won't even talk about that. Why not? Who knows? This is another one about who controls the small hats. Great article, that one. And check this out. This is why the world needs Bitcoin. Molly Kingsley said our legal case to try and extract excess death data from the front page of tonight's Telegraph. COVID vaccine manufacturers have been given vaccine mortality data, which might or might not show correlation between COVID vaccines and excess death mortality. That data has been withheld from British public and from parliamentarians. Us for Them, together with Claire Craig Path, have been involved in a 2-year fight to get transparency for the data. We lost on the grounds that releasing the data might endanger the mental health of relatives of the deceased. I wonder why that could be. Because it killed them, maybe? Check this out. So literally, the Telegraph says here, government withholding data that may link COVID jabs to excess deaths. UK HSA argue that releasing figures would lead to distress or anger of bereaved relatives if connection were discovered. I mean, this is absolutely outrageous. The public health watchdog has been accused of a cover-up after refusing to publish data that could link COVID vaccines to excess deaths. The UK Health Secretary Agency argued that releasing the data would lead to, well, it would more lead to their own corruption and cover-up, because they knew what was going on at the time and they still continued injecting people. That's why. Absolutely. I mean, it's just the criminality going on at the moment. It's just unbelievable. Another one here. Concerned citizen says a man dies after a tick bite triggers a meat allergy. He ate a hamburger and then died. The first case of its kind. I mean, and again, we know about how they've been injecting these ticks with the likes of Lyme disease, from ticks. And now they've got one that triggers a meat allergy. Would you believe it? Where on earth did that come from? Again, all manufactured. Absolutely unbelievable. And now they've got blood on their hands, but they don't care. I thought this was really funny from Craig Mason. He said BTC Maxis, as everyone else realizes, Jeffrey Epstein was involved in the creation of their bullshit version of Bitcoin. And this was a Thai fitness influencer, like doing her little jiggles there, as a military coup was literally taking place in her background, completely oblivious to it, like wearing a mask. Oh dear. Had to comment on this one, just said 100%. The Scythe said here, you're not ready for this. This is the bigger picture and the answer you've been looking for. I can't believe Candace Owens is covering the intelligence angle and operations take place in our society because it has entered her radar and has intersected and is connected to the cavalry churches and the Charlie Kirk assassination investigation. From the CIA, Mossad, the global elite, Rob McCrory, Charlie Kirk, Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, Courtney Love, the Kardashians, Justin Bieber, Kanye West, Lou Taylor, Charles Manson, etc. This is how it all works. This is an intelligence infiltration operation, and MK Ultra programming to control the masses and individuals to manipulate and steer the public to take over businesses. Absolutely is. This is the big picture. This is the global control operation. This is how it works, and it's been going on for decades. This is Hollywood, politics, sports, medicine, banking, tech field, etc. And this is how they infiltrated their control and how they take you out. It's all connected. And again, this is why the world needs Bitcoin, because it is all connected, but it all stems from their power of the financial system, just from the banks perpetrating securities fraud on the entire world, asset stripping absolutely everyone. The Highwire also said here they've just blown the lid off the entire vaccine system. Again, this is why the world needs Bitcoin. Wide Awake Media has said here, the UK government deliberately wants to wreck the British economy. It's not a matter of accident. It's all about destroy, 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 kill, kill, kill. Again, following orders in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel 15. That's what communism is all about. They know what they're doing. This guy describes it very succinctly. He said, they wish to destroy us. Until you understand that, you understand nothing. That's the trouble we're facing here. They really mean us harm. Yeah, absolutely they do. And people just don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe the religious extremism and that people can actually be this evil, you know. But this is what Satanism is all about. And laptop is just frozen there. I'll have to edit this bit out.
Even if we were, our problem here in this country is that while you still have a communist regime in the shape of the Labour Party, a country, even if we were now, supposing Reform were now to get in, they say, right, we will have corporation tax at 5 or 7% or whatever the lowest rate is, that would no longer tempt the companies that are now in Ireland to come to Britain because they know we have this hideous communist party, which would change it all just because they deliberately want to wreck the British economy. It's not a matter of accident. Do you suppose that even Rachel Reeves, even though she's what we call in Yorkshire thick as two short planks, the fact is, she knows perfectly well that if you tax the non-doms to force them overseas and force all the billionaires and millionaires and all their companies with them overseas, that is going to lose you revenue.
Kind of obvious, really, when you think about it.
She knew that when she taxed the private schools, that would mean all the private school kids are going to have to come into the public schools, and she was going to lose revenue on it.
Losing revenue and also losing quality of education. You know, they want everybody in line in communism again.
She didn't care.
Making everybody dumb as shit, following the Rockefeller narrative.
Because it's all about destroy, 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 kill, kill, kill. That's what communism is all about. They know what they're doing. They are working with hostile actors and foreign regimes that
absolutely they are.
Do not wish us well. Because the Labour Party does not wish this country well. They wish to destroy us.
Absolutely. You've got to be absolutely mental to still support them.
Until you understand that, you understand nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Until you understand that, you understand nothing. Couldn't agree more on that one. Very, very poignant. Just had to point this one out about Bitcoin. So Bitcrash said here, BSV miners have increased their fees to thousands of sats. This in turn plummeted transactions throughput and demand to transact on a network. Now is not the time to dramatically increase the fees. A gradual increase would have been more appropriate. If fees remain this high, fees remain high. So he's talking about how the transactions have plummeted off a cliff. But as I've said here, but look at the profitability. The bowstring is simply being pulled back even further. It's even with this increase, or shall I say with the drop in transaction fees, it's still been more profitable to mine on BSV. And I'm even if the profitability drops below, it will be brought back into line again. Literally, the bow is just being pulled further and further back. Absolutely massive. Check this one out. Yeah, again, more to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Lola said here, emails published by the House Oversight Committee reveal that Jeffrey Epstein funded Bitcoin Core development, shedding light on Epstein's connections and influence in the early Bitcoin and cryptocurrency community. I'd like to extend my sincerest apologies to every Bitcoin Core developer who will inevitably be caught up in this absolute reckless decisions Media Lab director Joe Ito made in receiving funding from Epstein for the Digital Currency Initiative. And so again, they're sort of like slowly leaking out that, we might have made a mistake because it doesn't actually work. And it's not a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. He effed it up on purpose, really, is what they're saying. And X Time Chain said here, BTC is finally catching on. Saylor and Epstein have been anti-Bitcoin for a long time. Epstein-backed segregated witness. BTC is a Ponzi headed to zero. Yeah, absolutely. And ex-Nobler said here, breaking, Grayscale dumped 404,000 BTC and liquidated their 65% of their crypto holdings. Whoa, that is just absolutely massive. Look, Coinbase Prime, Grayscale Funds. Let's have a look at the image here. Can't quite see the addresses, but I'm pretty sure they'll be segue addresses being dumped. And thanks to Stacking Satoshis, he said rewinding to a banger from Satoshi here. That was one of my old videos, how Bitcoin is a digital commodity. Again, I've even improved it since then, but yeah, it's all there. Fixed supply, lock protocol, equal accountability, common accountability. Economic competition, infinite scale. So I just had it all nailed back then, just reorganized it better. Really good movie here from Mr. Red Pills, Joe Kwame. This is the movie Drawn Together, released 15 years ago. Yeah, that was probably can't play it because of strikes and all that on YouTube, but it's basically going on about it's a piss take of Israel, saying, look, Israel could have gone anywhere in the world, yet it had to go into one of the most dangerous spots. Why is that? Well, again, I suggest it's all to do with the wanting the Ben Gurion Canal. Delta 9 said, imagine seeing a sky like this and not questioning a thing. Look up, wake up. Again, geoengineering, and we've just had confirmation from this from the Senate that what's going on. But I mean, it amazes me that people just cognitive dissonance, completely blind to what's going on. Have a look at this image in a moment. Again, this is why the world needs Bitcoin. Everything needs to be recorded on the Bitcoin ledger in private. So the supply chains of where they're getting the supply of barium, strontium, aluminium oxide, because that's what they found in these things. And have a look at the sky in a minute when the camera pans around. It's so ridiculous. Literally creating like a noughts and crosses board in the sky. Look at the state of that. Look at the state of that. Like when did you ever see skies like that when you were a kid? Yeah, but again, it's like the Mandela effect. People are, oh yeah, the sky's always been like that. They're just checkered clouds. Literally, I had somebody say that to me the other day. I was just like, you've got to be kidding. People are absolutely mental. But, people are mental these days, unfortunately. Just mind-blowing. The only people who aren't mental are the truthers who can see this. But as Rockefeller said in his secret covenant, those who see it will be thought of as insane by those other people who are absolutely crazy and they can't see it. But, yeah, that's the majority because they've been affected by what they're poisoning us with. And again, this is exactly why the world needs Bitcoin. They're going on about how the US government is controlled by Israel. And this is another great video about our history being a lie and how the Rockefeller Foundation removed the ether from the periodic table. It's unbelievable. Richard Tice changing his tune. Good to see this finally. He says bonkers. The UK Health and something agency waste time on eco-zealot reports and climate eco-grief, justifying drug use, yet refuses to release vital data on why people are dying and whether excess deaths have linked to COVID jabs in case upsets people. Is the UK Health something agency fit for purpose? Good question, mate. It takes a bit of time for you to wake up. You're fast asleep. Is he just going along with the narrative? But I mean, it seems crazy that they're not really releasing the data. Anywho, let's crack on with this then. So we've got Greycoin $95,000, Bcrush 500, Bitcoin at 22. Hash rate's gone up a little bit. Hash rate 0.03. That's normally 0.02. Interesting. Network nodes 0.00. Transactions down to 19.36. Block size 65. Again, there's no blocks to shout about coming through. But it's 64,000 times cheaper. See, look, it's 64,000 times cheaper, even though the cost per transaction has gone up to 100 sats. How can this be? And it's only 0.9% more profitable to mine on Gridcoin over Bitcoin. Even though the transactions have literally dropped off a cliff to what, like 19%. That's crazy. But look, it's 60. How can this be 64,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gridcoin? It's normally around sort of 30 to 40. Fascinating as to what's going on. These are the figures that you really need to look at. So have a look at the politics and the pie charts then. So it looks like other miners got about 8% on Gridcoin, 9% on Bcrash. Much of a muchness. Whoa, look at Fisher Price Cash over here. This is crazy. What is this? SL, is it S or L Software? L Software DMCC. Good grief, what's that? Looks like it's got, is that 84% on Fisher Price Cash? What on earth is that? What on earth? It looks like Big Bird color. And it's still 6.5% more profitable to mine on that. However, this looks suspiciously like a mining attack on it, because they're still taking advantage of the fact that it's more profitable to mine on Fisher Price Cash over Gridcoin. Will it keep increasing that and then just turn itself off? Fascinating. Again, get your popcorn ready. Watch this space, folks. That's what I would say on that one. Oh, do we get to see some figures here on what's on chain? Yay! So 24-hour stats, just 148,000 transactions over the last 24 hours. Nothing. Let's have a look at the mining stats, 24 hours. Tal 25%, Coup 17%, Mining Dutch 16.9%, Gorilla Pool 14.3%, QD-Link 14.3%, or 13.7%, and SA100 11.76%. And the profitability is still pretty much the same as it is on Gridcoin. So yeah, transactions, cross-reference here, 148,000, nothing dropped off a cliff, but profitability is still there. Look. Not really losing much in profitability at all. It's all going to come at once. It has to. There is no other way. And look at this, profitability, much of a muchness, and yet price of Bitcoin going down in comparison to Gridcoin. That looks like artificial suppression there to me. Suspiciously like that. Yeah, that does look like artificial suppression there. That's Bitcoin versus the big dog at Gridcoin. Let's have a look at Bitcoin versus USD. Yeah, artificial suppression there after that little price pump, bringing it down and down again. And it's gone up. Trending sideways though, but hovering around $22. $22, what, that's got to be like 17 quid. Crazy. Overall market then, so market cap down from 4 trillion to 3.1 trillion dollars. Gridcoin 95,000, 24-hour trade volume 3.9, representing $74 billion. That's not much at all. If you know what we know, yeah, not much at all. Right, keep an eye on the charts on the right hand side, see what they look like as we scroll down to find Bitcoin. Where is it going to be now? Is it going to be in the 80s? Oh, 86, here we go. Just $22.16. Price trending sideways there, just going down a bit. So they still reckon that CoinDCX has got the largest trade volume. So again, I suspect that CoinDCX was purely set up to try and discredit BSV, but can't get any of your coins off there because they're not really holding any. It's all wash trading BS. Artificially suppressing the price. What a time. What a time to realize what's going on, is what I would say. Right, some 365 days of Bitcoin history, the 16th of November 2008. So this is a quote here from Satoshi Nakamoto. He said, TCP connections suffer frequent, unreasonably long delays, and connections simply fail a lot. Your favorite web cartoon somehow shows it is loading forever, and you try again. Or it comes up with a little X in place of a picture, and you try again. FTP downloads of huge files seldom complete. Skype video calls also suffer frequent picture freezes. Very attractive to the libertarian if we can design a mechanism that will scale to the point of providing the benefits of rapidly irreversible payment. Immune to political influence over the internet to very large numbers of people. You have an outline and proposal for such a design. So again, look, they're talking about Skype video calls and huge file downloads, seldom complete. So hinting that the network is eventually going to be used for that, for everything, literally everything. And this is what Terranode is going to bring. Brilliant stuff. Let's have a look at the 17th of November, see where we are. '17th of November. So there was a quote here from Satoshi Nakamoto saying, if we provide them with such a throat, it will be cut. Quite a famous quote there. He also said there will be transaction fees, so nodes will have an incentive to receive and include all the transactions they can. Nodes will eventually be compensated by transaction fees alone when the total coin created hits the predetermined ceiling, Satoshi Nakamoto. And also on the 17th of November 2022, FTX files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Dolt. Again, I think it's all by design if you ask me. Anyway, there we go. Just need to go back and edit this show. That is a 40-minute show. We'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.